Hello, and welcome back for another adventure in the cookie jar. Today we're doing the fourth recipe from the Candy Cane Murder. It is called the Regency Seed Cakes. And those 2 pages. Now, while it does have cakes in the name, these are cookies. But we are starting these the night before because they do need to chill in the fridge for at least 2 hours or overnight. The first thing it says is do not heat the oven. This dough needs to chill. After that, you're going to want 1 cup, 2 sticks of butter, 2 eggs, 2.5 cups white granulated sugar, 6 tablespoons of poppy seeds, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of orange extract, half a teaspoon of orange zest, optional, 5 cups of flour, don't sift it, 3/4 cup orange juice. I use 3/4 cup Minute Maid. You'll also need half a cup of white granulated sugar in a small bowl for later when you bake the cookies. It says Hannah's first note. You can mix these cookies by hand, but it's a lot easier with an electric mixer. The next thing is orange zest is finely grated orange peel, just the orange part, not the white. The white is bitter and leaves a bad aftertaste. It's got a note when you mix in the butter, because you're going to melt it. It says that's so it doesn't slosh over the sides. I guess when you mix it in slowly. So they have, it seems a little complicated with how you mix everything in. It says cup your hands around the bowl with the melted butter. If it's not too warm to hold comfortably, start your mixer and pour it slowly into your mixing bowl. That's so it doesn't slosh over the sides. If it's still too hot to add and you think it might cook the eggs in your bowl, let it cool a little longer before mixing it in. Add 2 cups of the flour, now mix it in. Add the orange juice to your bowl, mix that in, and then add the rest of the flour. You should have 3 cups left to add. Okay, I got it. It was confusing me with the way it was written. So you're adding 2 cups and then you're adding the rest, which if you have 5 cups and you've already added 2, you have 3 left behind. That they made that way more complicated than they needed to be by adding the 3. You should still have 3 left behind. That was not necessary in that. It does say it will be quite stiff. Give it a final stir by hand and then stash it in the refrigerator for 2 hours overnight is fine. You're going to bake them at 375, which is not your typical 350. You're going to line the baking sheets with parchment paper and spray them with Pam or other nonstick cooking spray. In a second note, if it's snowing outside and you're all out of parchment paper and your car won't start for the trip to the store to get more, don't worry about it. Just spray your cookie sheets with Pam or whichever nonstick cooking spray you have on hand. If you do this, you'll have to let the cookies cool on the sheets for at least 5 minutes before you transfer them to wire racks. But that's okay, it's a lot better than trudging a mile through the snow to get to the store when you don't have it. Eventually you're gonna have your time done, you're gonna pull them out, you're gonna make your dough balls about 1 inch in diameter. Drop them in the sugar, roll them around, push them down slightly when they're on the tray so they don't roll. You're going to bake them for 7 to 10 minutes. Mine took about 9. Hannah's third note, if you don't use parchment paper, follow the cooling directions in my second note. Again, it doesn't feel like it needed to be there. If the dough begins to get sticky and you start to have trouble rolling it with your hands, return it to the refrigerator while the cookies are baking and take it out again when you need to make more dough balls. Yield approximately 8 dozen tasty cookies. So, the ingredients in this recipe all sound like they're going to go together great. However, the recipe's written, there's a lot of unnecessary things. There's a lot of backtracking and restating, and it just seems all over the place, which makes me hesitant that I'm going to get it right. So I'm hoping these come out good because they sound like they're supposed to be really tasty. But everything is laid out. Let's get started. Here is everything we're going to be using for this recipe. Okay, so I've already had the Belgier melted. It says just to put it in a container and microwave it for 1 minute and 15 seconds. We have already done that. So the first thing we are going to start with is we're going to take our 2 eggs and mix them in the bowl with our sugar. To do this, we're adding our poppy seeds, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. Orange extract. and the orange zest. This feels warm. So just add it slowly in. Now we're going to add 2 cups of the flour. The orange juice. Now we're adding the rest of the flour. Now I'm going to give it a final stir, trying to get in all the stuff at the top of the mixer. It's definitely stiff. It's stiff to the point I'm curious why it's being refrigerated. Maybe just to let the flavors blend, I guess, maybe. But this is done. We will cover it up with plastic wrap and get it in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Okay, so we've got the oven preheating to 375. We have our Regency seed cake dough that has been chilling since last night. We have our pans lined with parchment paper and sprayed with nonstick spray. All that's left now is to make them into balls and flatten them. So there is our first tray. I'm just going to scoop up the rest and we'll see how many we end up with. All right, so I have finished rolling them out. There are 87, so just over 7 dozen. They'll bake at 375 for about 9 minutes. And here we have all the cookies all finished up. So you get the poppy seeds really heavy. And the orange is more of an aftertone, which is nice. It's not the orange zest, the orange juice, and the orange extract. You think it'd be super duper orange, and it's not. The base is really nice and crispy, but the cookie itself it's not dry, so that's good as well. You think you would get more of a crunch with all the sugar, but overall, it's a really good cookie, and I like them a lot. So next week, we are making a Christmas date cookie. I know we made a Christmas date cake before, so I'm curious if it's going to be about the same kind of flavors or if it's going to be something completely different. If you are interested in seeing those be made and finding out with me, join us next week. I hope you all have a good one. Bye!